Hello, bookworms, bibliophiles, and lovers of all things literature. Welcome to the next chapter of the Braless Book Guild podcast, where we discard our bras and go back to school to talk about books both published and unpublished. We are your hosts, Jenna.
Hi, guys.
Marissa.
Hello.
I'm Megan. And guess what? We have a special guest.
Yeah.
Say hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Yeah. We have talked about Ryan so much on our podcast.
No, this is the first time.
This is the first time. Yeah, by the way.
Not that
Good,
Ryan.
good.
Not that Ryan.
Yeah.
So not only we've known you since high school.
Yeah.
Some of us.
Some of us.
Marissa's
Yeah, I
known you
don't-
since middle school?
I
Yeah,
don't know
I
if I
guess.
met you when you were in middle school, but
I think I saw you.
I was
in
at your
passing.
house, sure.
Yeah.
certainly, yeah.
Oh yeah,
At
definitely.
some
Yeah.
point, I saw you,
Yeah.
But yeah, you are our current DM, and you are a member of the Fellowship of the Traveling Books for 2025.
Yes, I'm reading the books this year. I forgot which one mine is. Right now I'm reading Megan's pick, which is
Yumi and the Nightmare Painter.
Yeah, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by
Yeah.
Brando Sando.
Yeah.
Yep.
And but we're not talking about that today.
No.
We are talking about required reading because Ryan is actually a teacher, and we thought it would be pretty cool to bring him on to talk about books that, you know, both
They force
we
us to
were, we were required to read in school, and what you currently have in your curriculum.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's actually like really funny that you say like what they forced us to read. Just I think about it a lot. Like I had a friend in college when I was getting my teaching credential who was like, yeah, I don't like it when people tell me what to read. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Like we should have independent reading. Kids should have free choice. And me growing up, I was a big reader, was like so down for that. Like I could go to the library, pick out my own book, read it all the time. Me as like an adult teaching kids to read and being like, you get to pick is really hard. Like they don't want to read and they pick bad
No.
books. Like, I don't know, a lot of the time. So I don't know. I have this like, I really appreciate that because I always like, there's this dichotomy of like, you should pick what you want to read. And then I'm also like, but you have to read, like read the book, like do pick something now.
Also, we kind of need to talk about things, so maybe if we could all read the same book, that'd be great.
Well, that too, right? And if like, I don't know, we definitely have, the class sets, right?
Yeah.
Where everyone does have to read those books. And those I like as a kid, I was like, these are perfectly curated by my teachers. They perfectly suit our needs at this developmental point in our lives and stuff like that. And now as an adult, I'm like, we're going to do this one, huh? Like we're still working on this one. Okay. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Not to say that like, well, I don't know. Some of the books that I teach kids, I'm like, nah, this is fine. Read it. You're going to need it. And then some books I'm like, this is great. And actually, yeah, you should read it. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how much as a teacher, how much leeway do you have on what you want to teach? Like, do they have a list of like, here's what we recommend you do for this age group?
Hey, like it's a big like issue and dilemma a lot of the time. So I have a lot of leeway as far as like what books are in my classroom. I have a classroom library that I buy books for, that I get books donated for, that
We've given you a bunch of
you've
books
given
for.
me a bunch of books for, absolutely. And I can pretty much put whatever I want in there, and I don't care. Like if someone is like, this book's inappropriate, I'm gonna be like, go away. I don't whatever. And I'm also like, if a kid is gonna read this book and then like also talk to their parents about it, and then also their parents are going to be like, that book's inappropriate, then I'm like, I don't know, that combination of things happening seems so unlikely, like statistically so low at this point. I don't know if I'm a little bit jaded, but like,
You're
yeah,
like, look, it did what I wanted because they read it and you read it. So now two people have read this book
Yeah.
because I put it in my classroom.
oh yeah, it seems fine then. I'm like, sure, I guess I'll take it down or whatever. As far as what I teach in class, there is sort of like a list of books. Usually we adopt curriculum. We actually just recently adopted new curriculum. And that curriculum comes with a list of books that we can teach. And typically, all of the books on that list are approved. In the previous curriculum that we had, that was true. Every book on that, we could do whatever we want with. But they're not always fully pre-approved. I don't know. We've run into issues where I've been like, we should teach this book, and then like the board or something will say, no, you can't teach that book, or just within our departments or at the school there will be resistance and stuff like that against the book. So it really depends. There's a lot of, I could, if I wanted, go rogue, right? And go against the entire, my entire department and just teach what I wanted. But then it also comes to like a point of supplies. Like, do I have enough books to do that?
We didn't talk about what we're drinking.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I just jumped in.
I was
like,
so
let's talk.
excited.
Yeah.
All right. I apologize
No,
for
you're
interrupting.
good. Yeah.
All right.
You raised your
I love
hand.
that
which
you-
I did
was
raise
like,
my
She does
hand.
that.
okay.
When somebody's in something and we don't want to like cut it off right there,
But
we
it was
raise our
perfect
hand and wait for
classroom.
the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, it was. I was like, is this a bit? Like, is this for me?
Yeah, we do it all the time.
All right, Marissa, what are you drinking?
I don't know, Jenna, what am I drinking?
Jenna, what is she
Marissa
drinking?
and I are drinking the same thing. We're drinking Peach Serenity, which is an herbal tea, which is a peach and mint herbal tea. It's really refreshing, and it's iced, obviously.
Yeah. I'm drinking a decaf chai
Yes.
with it's August, but it's also it's what are they people Ogtober
October.
because pumpkin spice is back.
Oh, okay.
I have welcomed the pumpkin spice overlords and I
Look.
have an almond creamer with pumpkin spice flavoring in it.
It was the most mild summer that we've had
I
in
agree.
California.
I agree.
I have been ready for pumpkin since like June.
Since the cold spell we
and
had
so
a
don't
week
worry,
and a half ago.
I've opened up my can of pumpkin puree and made my pumpkin chais and my pumpkin coffees. And it's always funny because I worked at the tea shop with our friend Angela, and I'll just send her a picture and be like, "It is time."
It is time. And then soon it's gonna be what's my favorite drink ever?
Oh.
Yours.
The
Cup of cheer.
Cup of cheer.
It's
yeah.
gonna be cup of cheer
Oh,
season.
yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, Ryan's had it before. I
I've
got
had
him
that.
some.
I honestly, I made that all last winter. Like for 2 weeks straight, that's all I was drinking every day, and it was so good. It's like nurturing. It's very warm and nice.
So good.
I literally, when we came up with that drink, the tea shop has 200 different teas at least, like just teas alone. So like drink options, you're looking at like anywhere from like 500 different options to make different drinks on it. And every day I'd walk in and be like, what do I want today? And the minute Christmas time hit, after I came up with that, it was like every single day I started my day with one
Yep.
of those drinks. It was like my favorite way to start my day.
It's so good.
So I look forward to it every year.
Ryan, what are you drinking?
I am drinking. Jenna made me a vanilla chai caffeinated because I did teach today, so I'm definitely caffeinated. And it's got pumpkin cream, pumpkin stuff in it.
Yeah,
pumpkin
Yeah.
stuff.
Is it good?
It is very good.
Okay,
Thank
good,
you. I
good.
super like it. Yes.
I literally just kind of wung it with that one. And I was like, we're going to see how this goes. So,
I'm
Wung
not-
it?
yeah,
Wung it,
I
winged
wung
it.
it.
I loved it. Or I love that.
I loved it. I loved it.
Loved it, don't love it anymore.
I did love it, but I'm over
It's-
it
it's
already.
good.
It's past tense. Yeah. I'm not a tea drinker, but I always like tea that you guys make. It's always really good. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my favorite thing to do is find a tea for someone that they'll like.
We did find one for Haley.
Yes.
90% of the time when I'm drinking tea, it's just with you guys. Like, every once in a while, especially in, like, winter time when I'm like, I don't want a coffee, I want a tea instead. And usually it's, like, the hazelnut tea that's, like, kind of coffee-esque is when I have tea. But I'd say, like, 9 times out of 10, I'm drinking tea with you guys. Otherwise, I'm drinking something else.
Interesting. I just assumed you were a massive tea drinker like me, but I also just assume everyone is like me, so
Yeah. Well, you'll notice that a lot of my tea just stays
it
in
never
my
goes.
Yeah, it never leaves.
depletes. Anyway, back to the story or
Okay.
your life or
Back to the
Whatever,
story.
yeah.
so you were talking about like the board will approve.
Oh, yeah. So I guess to give context, I teach middle school, 8th grade English. That's what I've been teaching. This is my 10th year, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. And in that span of time, when I first got started, we were teaching one curriculum. We just last year switched over to a brand new curriculum with brand new like texts and stuff in it. Both curriculums had approved story frames that were in there, or were stories that we're allowed to teach within there. Not that we're allowed to teach. We could also adopt other books. None of the books that I'm teaching currently, no, it's not true. The 2 books that I'm going to talk about today that I'm currently going to be teaching this year are both on that list, but I also teach a 3rd reading section, and none of the books in that section are on that list. So, like, we could go off it if we needed to. But it typically does require board approval, and then, like, obviously funding is a thing. We have to have the books, which I argue, at least, that, like, if we have enough for a class set, we have enough for books. A lot of people in my department argue that no, kids should be reading independently at home, and I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I teach I teach co-teach, which is when we blend a third of special ed kids into a 2/3 mainstream class in order to like bring up, the levels of the special ed kids and give them role models and stuff like that. Those classes, I'm advocating for that because I think that like they won't read by themselves, right? And or they struggle, they have a hard time with reading by themselves, just stuff like that. So I'm like, no, let's read in class, let's spend the time. I actually did go roguish a little bit this week and just took the week to start our book. We started S.C. Hinton's Outsiders.
Yes.
And typically that's a fully independent book, and typically I find kids don't read it. So they watch the movie, which is a great movie, and it actually, like, reading the books with the kids, I'm just like laughing at the parts that are in the movie because they did a good job of like pretty much identically replicating that book in that movie. So it's decent enough for them to watch the movie and kind of get some media dialogue about it, but it's not practicing reading. So
Yeah.
Do you
Put on subtitles and mute it.
Yeah, true.
Do you ever do that thing? Because I know one of my teachers did it. I can't remember which book it was, but they did it for one book where it's like, yes, watch the movie, but also read the book, and now I want you to tell me the differences.
That's actually one of the state standards. We're supposed to have the kids do that, talk about the differences between a book they read and a movie that shows the same thing. So I will do that. We do kind of like a free choice project with Outsiders where there's two options this year, at least. The kids have to do like a plot diagram. I don't know if you guys remember the like exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. So they walk me through it to prove that they read it, right? And they have to put quotes on that so that I can see that they have chunks of the book and stuff like that. And then they get a free choice, which is included in that. They can write me like a little essay where they compare a scene from the movie with the scene from the book, or they can rewrite like a scene from the book from a different perspective or something like that. A lot of the time, what we'll also do, I mean, there's a bunch of other options on that one. I get a lot of like videos. They like to do group projects. So, and especially like this age of kids like working on TikTok and stuff. They love making videos, and I've gotten some really good ones. And then, I don't know, some also really interesting ones. Some ones that are like, you're a middle schooler. You definitely made this. When you watch Francis Coppola's Outsider, though, the movie that he directed, it's like, it's old. It was made in the 90s or 80s maybe. And I think it was I don't know. It was.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
This is Jenna's job.
It's also got like Ralph Macchio, I think, and Brad Pitt and all of those, heartthrob kids in it. So we probably should get the date figured out.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say 91.
I'm gonna say 87.
Oh, that was going to be my guess.
Gotcha.
89.
83.
Ooh,
Oh,
much
wow.
younger. They are
Okay.
very young in that, so that makes sense.
Wait, even Brad Pitt has been around since the 80s.
Dude, Brad Pitt. Well, and he was a baby in that, though.
Okay,
Like, you think
okay,
about
I've
it,
never
he was
seen
probably like 20 in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But
Yeah, it's so crazy looking at the cast right now because I pull it up on IMDb.
yeah.
And it's like every single one of them are actors that we know now, but you, like trying to imagine them as kids again, like to their picture is so crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're all like my parents' age.
Well, and just like the writing and the flow of that movie is really interesting and weird. It's not like it's first of all, it's a movie based on a book, so it's going to be different than your typical like blockbuster movie. And it was when they, I didn't do any research to approve this, so this could all be speculation. But when they made it, it was like an appeal from kids who had read the book. They were appealing to Hollywood or to a director or something, saying, "Please make this movie and make it, do justice to the book." So the pacing's really weird.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
so off and strange. And then the kids will watch the movie with us or watch the movie at home a lot of the time. And then they'll make their own scenes. And like, I don't know, they're maybe not getting the best model for how to make like an engaging scene in the first place. And then you get some really weird scenes from this book.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you didn't read the book. 'Cause you
Well,
didn't-
now they have the musical out, too.
they have a musical?
They have a
Oh my
musical
gosh.
out. And I don't know how popular it is on other people's TikToks, but on my TikToks, there's definitely like a snippet of one of the songs that is like viral of like people making like different
That's
videos
so
to it.
wild. How recently did they make? I was actually I take a spin class at the college in my town, And the instructor, we were talking, she was like, I'm going to do a class that's just musicals. Like, what musicals should we do? And they listed off a ton of musicals. We did
K-pop Demon Hunters.
I did suggest it, but this was supposed to be Broadway musicals,
Dang
so
it.
she didn't go for it. But we did Hamilton, we did Mean Girls, we did Hades Town. I don't know if they did. I don't think I heard Beetlejuice when we were writing.
Beetlejuice is the other one.
We did 3 episodes. We did 3 songs from Hamilton though.
Nice.
So. But I didn't realize they had done Outsiders. That's honestly
I haven't
so
listened
sick.
to all of it, but I've heard that snippet, and I like that little snippet that they
Yeah.
have in there because it's kind of the big climactic point of like the big decision that they're gonna make. Like, I've lost everything, so there's nothing else to lose. And I'm gonna go.
Do
and
it
so-
for Johnny? Is
Yep.
that the part? Okay.
Yep, that's literally the line.
Okay, that's so sick.
Yeah,
I have heard that lately. The
Yeah.
kids have been saying that, so I wonder if it is something they picked up on TikTok. Because I think I
Probably.
heard that literally yesterday.
I'll
And it
find
was
I'll
like-
find one of the videos and send it to you.
Okay, I do want to hear it. I want to see it. Honestly, it might be something. I have to show my department that actually, because maybe we'll watch it instead of the movie. Although back to board approval and stuff like that, I'm not really supposed to show things that the board doesn't approve either. And they've like gone to the lengths of like disconnecting our ability to access, like obviously Netflix. They do that because they don't want kids getting on there.
Yeah.
But like they even went into Amazon and like dislocated our Amazon Prime. Like we can't get onto our Amazon Prime accounts.
Boy.
I have used a program called Screencastify to literally, like, I guess illegally steal movies and play them. And sometimes that doesn't work either. They've gone to great lengths to make sure we're not playing books that they don't
It's
want to get
crazy.
sued about or something.
Because I just didn't really think about how technology has changed so much for teachers. And like for us, it's like, oh yeah, of course, you had to go get a DVD or a VHS. So it's like,
Oh, you
now
guys
it's like thinking like, oh,
Wheeling in
this
the
is on streaming services. Yeah, exactly.
wheeling in the
Wheeling
TV on
with
a
the
cart.
VHS.
Yeah,
So-
I remember those.
I'm at that fun little like in between stage where like I still remember the old school projectors and stuff like that where they had to pull up the slides and do all
Yeah.
that. But also I remember when they're all like, oh, we got these brand new fancy smart boards that I could do like
Oh.
touch on
Yeah.
them, and like
Yeah.
that was a big thing that they came out with like when I was a freshman or something.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
of those, I immediately disabled touch on those.
Oh,
I bet.
a lot of my teachers did. They
Yeah, it's
hated it.
infuriating.
Yeah. And they always like they had to like constantly recalibrate it. Like they'd be in the middle of a lesson and be like, "Ah, hold on," and press the like recalibrate
Yeah.
button.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, like it's just funny because I just don't even think about that. I'm like, what do you mean the board has to like, you can't get on Netflix? Oh, because they'd be streaming Netflix. That's why.
The kids would be
Duh.
streaming Netflix.
Like,
Well, and like I remember as a kid, just like going into class, I'm actually confused about where this memory comes from. Because like, so right now in my classroom, I have a Chromebook cart and I have 36 computers that I can pull out, laptops at any time, and the kids can go on it, or I can put it away and lock it and the kids can't go on it. When we were
you don't
kids
have
though,
computer labs.
yeah, we don't have computer labs. We literally just got rid of our last computer lab.
What?
Yeah. And so, and like when we were kids, we had to check out the computer lab and go there and do stuff in the computer lab. I remember it was like a kind of, the room layout was circular and you could like
Yeah.
sit in the middle or on one of the sides. And I remember that because I remember watching my friend like break the security measures they had
Yep.
and finding like German porn and just being like, oh, that's on in my classroom right now. And I was like, how did you do that? We were in the library. Like,
We didn't do that, but when I was in like 5th grade, I was part of the more advanced math
right.
part.
Like the GATE program or something?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah,
Okay.
where it was like, hey, you're too advanced for this class, so you and like 5 other students are gonna go back to the computers and do your own math class on the computer.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that I was back there with me was like super tech savvy and was like, yeah, I completely like broke into the system.
Wow.
We could play games, we could message each other. Like that was what we did back there.
That's so funny.
Like we'd finish our lessons and then just play games.
I remember computer tech freshman year, I did sit next to Johnny in that class, and he and I somehow accessed the school's intranet system, and there was a messaging board on that intranet system, and I was like, oh, it's like just a normal messaging system. So, and this was like some weird clunky system that I really didn't understand. But I would be like, Johnny, do this. Now click on that. Now go here. And then he'd pull it up, and I'd be like, we can message each other, dude. Even when we're being quiet, we can message each other. Look, we're messaging each other. And then like A week later, the teacher walked up to us and gave us both detention. But it was like literally a week later. Like, I don't know that they knew it existed. I think someone eventually like opened it and was like, oh, kids are messaging. I guess those messages got sent technically to every single teacher.
Oh,
but I'm like,
gosh.
it took you a week.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't see it immediately. It wasn't something anyone was checking.
Well,
at
you
all.
gotta think about it. A lot of the teachers at that time didn't know technology
Straight up,
that
yeah.
well.
Right.
So, like, it's not like you are right now, where I think you're very knowledgeable on like technology.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like you're not like an IT guy where you're gonna go be able
Right.
to
Yeah,
fix
yeah, yeah.
anything, but
I
you
am.
know.
Yeah.
And so, and it's our generation now that's teaching these people that are now learning new things, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn those new things with them.
them,
Oh
yeah.
God, we're gonna be the nanas.
Yep.
It's interesting, kids with technology now, because like they still do the same stuff, but it's just like different how they access things. Really, there's just a series of websites that sell ads, right? And these websites are like, we want kids to see the ads so we get money. So the websites continually find ways around our systems, our security
Yeah.
systems, our firewalls and stuff. And they will literally just like post like free games 0.894 or whatever, and then the kids can find that and play all the free games that they like. And as soon as we catch that website, they come up with a new one, and
Yeah.
the kids just have to like share whatever website they found most recently, and then they can do it, right? Or they can just turn off the Wi-Fi in their Chromebooks and play the dinosaur game.
Yeah, that's,
Yep.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you do. So going back to kind of what you're doing with your kids, I did that for the last couple years that I was in Korea. I was teaching at the very fancy school that was like in the rich part of town, and it was all of the kids were kids of either movie actors, baseball players, or ambassadors.
Wow.
So I had a
fancy.
lot. Yeah, it
Wow.
was fancy.
Yeah, I don't have those.
They were rich, very rich over there. I was like not scheduled, but like put on to teach summer camp. So these are the kids that went to the private academy, and they were the ages that I taught originally were 2 years old, American age, 2 years old to like 7 years old, and then from 8 to 10, the ages 8 to 10 went to the fancy private school. That is an exclusively English school. Like they only taught in English. So all of the kids were very fluent. So when they would come for summer camp, because the school would end and they didn't have anywhere to go, but the parents still had to work. So they'd come to our school and we'd do summer camp. And I was like, I'm going to teach them Percy Jackson. The show hadn't come out yet.
Oh.
The movie was out, and I was just like, this is the perfect movie for me to be like, we're going to read the whole book and then we're going to watch the movie. I had not watched the movie in a very long time.
Oh.
It is scary.
Oh yeah.
And they're like 7 to 8 years old.
Yeah.
And they were like so good about reading. Like they even though I would say Percy Jackson's very much middle grade, they were reading Percy Jackson. They were like fine with it. And then I would read, a couple chapters if they got tired. But so we read it all together. And then I started playing the movie, not even thinking about asking for permission to show the
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yeah.
And I watched it, and the very first thing is Mrs. Dodson
Oh my
is a harpy,
gosh.
and she like attacks, and she's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it going, oh my God. And then one of the little girls was like, I'm scared. And I was like, yeah, that's enough. And then the next day, one of the, or I think I managed to get like halfway through the movie. I think it was right after the Medusa part. And then I was like, okay, that's enough. And we're just going to do a compare and contrast of what we watched. And then the next day the parents came up and we're just like, don't
watch that.
we don't want our kid to watch that. And I was like,
fair.
that is very understandable. But what's perfect is there was one girl, her name was Tomina, and she I will just say this, she's black and she is beautiful, and she was like the smartest girl in class. And I was like, I am 100% convinced she's going to be president one day. And it was so perfect that now in the new Percy Jackson show, Annabeth is black, and I was just like, she can like see herself
Yeah.
Yes.
in that.
That's awesome.
And she was like, yeah, my favorite character is Annabeth. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then now I'm just like, I always think about her now when I see the new Percy Jackson show and how,
yeah.
here's this beautiful black girl. And I was just like, yes, this is it.
Perfect.
Tomina's going to see it and be like, I can be president.
I can.
So anyway,
I
back
have
to you.
a funny story about also showing kids a movie. I have two actually. So my first couple of years of teaching, when we were doing the older curriculum, somehow we were able to like punch through that curriculum really fast. So the first story I guess I have is we got to the 4th unit of this curriculum, which nowadays I do not get to. It's impossible. Like I can probably get through 4 units of curriculum in my new curriculum, but it's much quicker. But yeah, so we did Shakespeare in the 4th unit, and I wanted to show a Shakespeare movie, but Midnight Summer's Dream wasn't approved, and it's also like a bit slower and a bit like more fantastical and stuff. The one I did instead is like the kids' interpretation of Twelfth Night, I think, which is it's a soccer movie.
She's the man.
She's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the
Love
man.
it.
So I showed that for like every year for the first like 3-4 years, and the kids loved it, and it was great. But I did have a teacher, a 7th grade teacher, come into my room one time and be like, "Oh, you're watching She's the Man?" And I was like, "Yeah, like this is like a totally
12th
normal
Night.
good movies. Yeah. 12th Night, Shakespeare. They like it, they get it, they make the comparison. It's great." And she was like, "But they have period stuff in there."
So
And I was like, "Yeah," and like I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" Like, that's normal to talk about and to show kids, I think. And she was like very much like, "I don't know if it's approved, board. You have to get this paper
I had my
signed,"
period by 8th grade.
Absolutely, they all.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what they have, but a lot of them do. It is a common problem in 8th grade. So yeah, I don't know. She felt it was really inappropriate, and like at that time,
She
herself
Interesting.
did. Yeah. So she took over
Because there's shame. There's shame associated with it. And so, especially like women of our age who it was much more hush hush or older,
Yeah.
it was much more hush hush growing up and we didn't talk about those things in public. It's like, I remember even like as a teenager, it was like the joke of like, oh, your father can't pick up the period stuff or whatever. Not that my dad would ever do it. Like my dad's like, whatever, I'm picking it up. I don't care. But like, the guys aren't going to pick up your pads or your stuff. And I remember reading, like, someone telling their boyfriend, like, oh, can you go get me stuff? And he's like, are you a large? She's like, that's light, but no. Like, it was just like, what size are you? It's just like, guys just didn't know. So
Yeah.
having that, like, stigmatism of, like, we don't talk about that.
Right.
So, like, I feel like it's interesting that nowadays, you know, as we're getting to this generation where women do talk about it and it's much more open, which is better, I think.
Yeah, kids feel a lot more comfortable coming to me like as a male teacher about that issue. A lot of girls will just be like, "I'm on my period. Can you send me to the nurse?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And then it's also easy, like we always have to fill out some sort of like pass if they want to go to the nurse. That gives the reason why they want it all documented in case something bad happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's like it's easy for them a lot of the times to just talk about it. Some girls are still like nervous about it though, so I kind of just will hand them the pass and be like, fill out the reason and then take the pass and go. I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm curious too, because I felt like for me, at least a part of it was when it was being kept like quiet was because they didn't want boys to make the jokes
Right.
and make fun of it and make girls feel uncomfortable in that sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Because I think that's like, yes, girls are uncomfortable about it, but they go through it anyways. I think it was the fact that they didn't want to like put it out in the open to say like, hey, this is okay to go make fun of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I think that's at least to play devil's advocate of like the other teacher's part and everything.
Yeah.
I
It's the
think that's
boys'
something.
fault.
Those
Oh,
boys.
okay. To protect the girls against the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That could be part of it. On another note, with the she's the man thing, I love telling people that that's Shakespeare because like when people don't understand that that's 12th Night, like
Right.
I'm like they have the names. Like,
Yeah.
the names are even the same.
Yeah. It's not even like
It's not even trying to pretend to not be Shakespeare.
They had Malvolio in there. Like that's not a name that you just
Duke.
put.
His name is Duke Orsino.
I think Duke is fine and even Viola is fine, but when they have a name like Malvolio in
Yeah.
there, it's like people just don't name their thing that. Like anybody that.
That's my
Um,
next kid's name, you know?
I miss that era of like media where they just did a bunch of Shakespeare enactments.
Right.
Like finding out that 10 Things I Hate About You was
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Shakespeare. I was like,
King
what?
of the Shrew, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the best. I love
Lion King is Hamlet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
it. Clueless,
So-
obviously.
You said you get to your Shakespeare curriculum. What do you typically teach in that one?
So we don't have a Shakespeare curriculum anymore.
Oh.
When I did, we taught Midnight Summer's Dream. And this was literally
Midsummer
like
Night's Dream.
Midsummer Night's Dream.
You
Yeah,
got there
sorry.
close.
Yeah, good.
It's been like 4 years since I taught it because we usually do not have time. And even when we do teach it, it was like May. Like the last 3 weeks of school, we'd crank them through Midsummer Night's Dream. and then we'd have a couple sonnets or something that they could do. I don't even remember the sonnets that we would teach. So, but Midsummer Night's Dream was always a blast because it's like the end of the year and no one wants to really do anything.
And that one's just a comedy. It's silly.
It's just a comedy, and we're very like stand up and move around. I would go outside and have them rehearse scenes. It was actually one of my favorite time periods because my classroom was in the back of the school, and it opened up into there's a little bit of forestry back there and like some paths and like the fields and stuff like that. So it felt like the best time to go out into the spring and be like enact parts of this idyllic springtime play, ready to go, or I guess summertime play, but we're getting ready for summer.
Yeah.
And in California, it's always summer, so
Yeah.
If it's not winter, it's summer.
Yeah.
And winter really only lasts a weekend.
yeah, a couple.
I don't know. Last winter was pretty cold.
It was. It's been colder. I mean, this summer's been mild, and then last winter was kind of cold.
The winter that Elias was born was like the only stormy winter I remember ever having.
Yes.
It wasn't necessarily
Oh my
cold. It was
gosh.
just stormy.
Yeah.
Was the thing.
Where I live up the hill a bit more from you guys,
Yeah.
we got snow like 5 times. And I think it rained for like
What?
65 days.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, straight for us.
I didn't know you guys had snow.
Yeah,
5
we had
times.
snow so much.
I remember only maybe having snow 2 or 3 times growing up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's wild. Maybe
And
extreme weather.
We had to drive to the hospital in the storms, and every road was flooded.
Oh.
Every single road was flooded while I'm in labor, going to the hospital to like give birth.
That's why I call him Elias Stormborn.
Yeah.
Oh,
so good.
that's pretty
so good.
cool.
Yeah.
You haven't
That's
read
pretty cool.
Brando Sanderson?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
That's a Game of Thrones reference.
Oh,
What are you
yeah.
talking
I
about?
don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Stormlight.
Yeah, it could be. It could be both.
She's
It could be
Daenerys
both.
Stormborn because she was born
Yeah.
on Dragonstone during the middle of a storm. Oh my God, Ryan.
I'm just looking at
You are like the nerdiest person.
I have not gotten. I've watched the show for Game of Thrones, but I've not read the book, and I also don't care about many of the characters in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
I'm like Stark is cool, Dragon Lady's cool. Those are
Once
the
you
2 I
got
got.
through the show, you stop caring about the book because you're like, oh, that's where this all tied up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Kinda.
Kind of.
We don't know.
It's not, it's
We'll
not
never
finished.
know.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
But yeah. I wanted to know what your favorite book to teach is.
Okay. So the 3 I do 3 big reading sections throughout the year. The first one that we just started this week is Outsiders, S.E. Hinton. That's one I kind of have pushed back against in the last couple of years. I've been kind of like, maybe we stop reading that one just because it's very like,
I've been doing it for 10 years.
I've been doing it for 10 years, and it's very much like focused on, it's good. It's really good. I think it really connects with especially middle school kids, especially kids who don't like reading and don't care about, stuff at school. But it's very boy-centered. I don't think it represents the women in the story very well. I think they're really just tools for the plot. And then it's very ethnocentric. There's it's just white people,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like a lot of the books that we teach, we could open it up to more diversity in general. But I do like it. It is really fun, and there's a lot of depth into it in figurative language, and it serves as a really strong example of writing for kids. The book that I like teaching, aside from that one, that I'll just keep teaching, I think, is Lois Lowry's The Giver.
Always.
That one.
And
I love that one.
It's very good. The reason I like teaching it, it's actually kind of rough sometimes because it's slated as a middle school book, but I never read it in middle school. I didn't read it
neither,
until
yeah.
I was an adult.
Same.
My sister read it, I think, in 6th grade. And in my school and at our school back in the day, 6th grade was elementary school. We get pushback from the elementary school teachers because they like to teach it. It is officially in our curriculum and stuff slated for middle school, but I always have a handful of kids who have already read it. I've read it 40 times now, so I'm whatever, read it again. I don't care.
Guess what I do for a living?
Yeah. The reason I like to teach this book a lot is the way we teach it is really structured. We have sort of a digital notebook where the kids, as they read, have to collect quotes that refer to different topics. We'll have different characters that we're doing analyses of. When we'll also have just different elements. We'll talk about setting. We'll talk about plot. We'll talk about the rules that the book establishes. We'll talk about the conflicts that the book establishes. But one of the things that we bring up is this idea of like society. When we talk about setting, we also talk about like societal norms and stuff like that. And I really push for the kids to be like, what's weird? What's weird in their society? Like, talk to me about that. And it feels like the kids who connect with it and the kids who get it, it's just fun to watch them start to like ask questions. Question asking is a big part of how we teach it. We make the kids like they're supposed to come up with questions that they have to ask, and we have these like long discussions where we just all sit around a table and I make the kids talk for 10 minutes and I try to shut up as much as I can. But they're supposed to come with these questions to ask about society and what's normal and what's not normal. And some of those conversations are just super rewarding and super fun. They are, in their transitionary moments, and some really don't care about reading or school or just like academics in general, but they love all of them. Most of them love talking. And when you put them in this situation where I'm like, hey, I'm asking you to talk now, they all freeze up and stop.
Yeah.
And it's really awkward and it takes a long time, but steadily over weeks of doing this, it starts to they start to have a dialogue, and sometimes it's very rudimentary, and sometimes it's forced or staged. Like they are literally wrote themselves little lines that they could say when someone asks the right question, but sometimes it explodes into actual conversation. And that feels like easily the most rewarding part of teaching just in general. And I feel like Lois Lowry does an awesome job of creating context for which they have questions to ask. They're like, what's a birth mother? What do they do?
What is color?
Yeah. What's color? Right.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's really probably the most rewarding section to teach.
Yeah.
I remember as a teenager in high school, one of my I'm pretty reserved. I was pretty quiet, which like nowadays I've gotten more comfortable and I talk more. But I was definitely much more reserved in high school, especially in class settings. I wasn't the outspoken one, but my favorite was when we do debates and we do things where they'd sit you down with just like 4 or 5 other people and just be like, all right, here's your point, like convince me or convince the others. And it's like when I had to think about things and like actually stand up for something and talk about it, and like it felt like my voice was heard rather than just sitting there and listening to teachers every day all day. It was really rewarding to do that as a teenager, I think. So I think those are cool. Those are cool classes when the teacher gets to let the kids voice their own opinions on something.
Yeah, absolutely. And when the kids do actually start to talk, like some of them still stay quiet, and it's a struggle to get them to come to the table. But some of them like start to actually talk so much, and that's where like student autonomy really starts to come out. Mm-hmm. And they're just talking about the stuff that they care about in the book, and I don't know, it is fun. It's really cool.
Yeah. When you were a student, do you have a book that you remember in high school or middle school that you remember reading that you really enjoyed?
I definitely read Outsiders in middle school, and I did read that. I read it in class, and then I also inherited kind of my cousin's copy of the book, so I read it at home a lot too. Mm-hmm. So I do have that as a like emboldened memory in my mind, and I've been, I guess, reading that book for like 26 years now. My cousin's copy is like faded and like sun crusty, and it's like falling out of its thing, and I put it on my shelf along with all my display books because I'm like, this is one of the ones I display. Yeah. It's earned its spot up here. Other books I remember from high school though. So I remember obviously Great Gatsby. I remember Of Mice and Men. And then a lot of what I remember are just reading and rereading Shakespeare plays. I took in my senior year. So the way our school set it up, when you got to senior year, you could take AP Lit, I believe. And then if you didn't do AP Lit, all the other seniors, the normies or whatever, had their options. Like they had 3 options.
Contemporary, sci-fi, Shakespeare,
and
AP
British.
Lit, and British.
Yeah.
Or if you were like me,
you did drama.
Creative writing.
I did. They were like, oh, if you took a certain number of these classes, which was drama, creative writing, and like this other, if you took an advanced English class, then you don't have to take anything your senior year. So I did not take a single.
I took three English classes my senior year because I was like, I want to take Shakespeare, I want to take contemporary lit, and I want to take sci-fi, but I couldn't get into it.
Oh yeah.
And then And then I got I think British Lit, I think was the other one. That I did.
Did you have Miss Buholtz?
I think so.
Yeah, I did speech and debate with Miss Buholtz, and she was great. She also, like, as an adult going back to that district to sub, scared me a lot. She was very intimidating. I was like, oh gosh, it is you, my teacher of 3 years for 3 years straight, and now you are in another space where you can yell at me. So I started my senior year in sci-fi, but I was shanghaied into marching band that year, and the only way to get me into marching band with any like confidence was to also put me in beginner band so that they could teach me how to do percussion, because I didn't know how. I was doing drum lessons, but I was nowhere near a caliber enough for marching band. And the only way to get me into the fourth period beginning band was to switch my English class.
Oh no.
So I got switched into Shakespeare, which was fine. It was with Mr. Ritchie, and Mr. Ritchie was just this like quiet, kind old man.
I loved him.
He was great, and I did like his class a lot. I took it with our friend.
The funny thing is, you were probably in my class. I just don't remember.
We might have been in the same class. Yeah. Did you have a first period?
I think so.
Yeah, that's when I had it. Yeah,
I think so.
remember that vividly because I would drive one of our friends to. It is Samantha now.
Oh yeah, Samantha. Yeah.
So she at the time was living with me. So I would drive to school with them every day, and like I don't know. They didn't appreciate English at all. They did not care about it. And I would walk into Mr. Ritchie's class, and they would just like next to them every time, because we drove together and we were living together. They would walk in, sit down, put their head down. And of course we were like 5 minutes late because we couldn't get out of, whatever.
Because you were
time.
Teenage boys that are heading to class and school and
then
able to drive yourself.
Yeah, we were able to drive. Well, and also like we didn't wake up in time. Like to be fair, they were working the night before too. And I think I was also maybe working. So it was like, we were both tired, and it was hard to get up. And back then, classes had to start at 7:30 because that's what they wanted.
7:49.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like the weirdest time ever for a class to start.
Also so early, which a lot of people argue. We're going off on another tangent, but we made the switch like 4 or 5 years ago in California to say that we cannot start school before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And there was so much pushback from parents and stuff.
And that's garbage because developing children need to sleep.
Yep.
It is like scientifically proven.
That's the time they sleep at. They sleep in. They want to stay up late and sleep in.
Yeah.
And they just need to get the rest.
A lot of studies out there that believe that the biological clock in teenagers is actually 4 hours different than adults.
Okay.
So asking them to wake up at 8 in the morning is the same as asking an adult to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, wild.
So that's what my husband does.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can do it. It's just you're going to be exhausted at the end of the day.
Yeah. And if the goal is to make kids think and have energy and stuff,
Yeah.
if the goal is to have them be exhausted in school, which sometimes I'm like, please be quiet, then sure. But if you want them to be thinking and stuff, then they need more sleep.
Yes.
But anyways, we'd show up to class late, and Mr. Ritchie would watch me come in with our friend, and they would sit down, put their head down, and be catatonic for the entire class. And then I'd be over here like, I like you. I think class is fun.
I actually enjoy Shakespeare. Please keep teaching.
Yeah. So I always felt really bad.
Yeah.
Mr. Ritchie liked me anyways. He did academic, and I was also in academic, so it was fine. We were cool, but I always felt bad.
Kind of the problem I had with German because my teacher was kind of a pushover.
Did you have Miss Johnson?
No,
No, she
I
wasn't.
went to Eldo.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She wasn't a Pondo kid.
But yeah, she was such a pushover. Like, she was very sweet. She was very smart. But I could kind of tell she was like, these kids don't actually want to learn German. So
Right.
she was like, she would try so hard, but eventually just give up.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the hard part is like, people would just push her until she gave up. And so she'd just let them. But I actually wanted to learn. So
Right.
it was like, I tried so hard to be like, I'm actually trying here. Like, I appreciate what you're doing. But
You know, the weirdest things are the things that you remember from high school, like those like moments or discussions and stuff like that like teachers probably don't even think matter in your brain, but for some reason they stick to you. I remember I had contemporary lit in senior year. It was one of my English classes, and for the life of me, I can't remember my teacher's name now, but she was a white woman, and I remember her talking because we were reading a book about where the main character was black, and she was talking about how her husband was black, and I don't know, he might still be. I don't know if they're still married. I don't know if he's still alive. but she had black children, obviously, because of that. And she said it was so frustrating to go out without her husband, because if she took her kids out, they
Right.
just assumed she adopted.
Mm.
And for some reason, in my mind, I still think about that discussion all the time. And I'm like, she probably thought that was a throwaway story that no one was really going to actually be affected by it. And now, like, I think about it all the time. And I'm like, I mean,
Because
my husband's
you
very
have a black kid.
my husband and my kid are white passing. They don't even look like. Well, my husband kind of does. He looks
Your
more,
husband definitely looks black.
but my kid doesn't at all. So it's like, but I think about it all the time.
Your kid looks like my kid is the problem. Because he's
looks-
tan.
Yeah, my kid looks tan, but not black by any means. But yeah, it's funny how you just think about those things, and it's like those things that teachers are teaching us. The things that you think are going to make a difference with the kids are probably the ones that they won't remember 15 years from now, but the ones that do stick in your brain are like the random little tidbits like that. But yeah.
I'm curious because we talked about like books that stuck with you in high school, going off into college, like deciding to pursue this career and everything like that. What was the driving force for that? What stuck out to you in your college courses that made you stick to it?
So I went to community college the first like 4 years of my college career, and I wasn't I was never a very driven high school student, and I wasn't a very driven community college student either. And I struggled really hard with like math and science and stuff. It took me a lot of tries to get through. I took this with Johnny actually again, this psychology of statistics or statistics of psychology class, which I was like, it's stats, but it's gonna be about psychology. That sounds interesting and cool.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It was so hard. It was stats up to like cranked to like 11 or 12. And Johnny, he's a genius. He was able to get through it no problem. But I failed that class so hard. Really, what I liked in college though was
playing Magic.
Well, playing Magic, absolutely. We played a lot of Magic, played a lot of D&D, a lot of Star Wars D&D. But I do remember like building relationships with those teachers.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name, but the lady who taught the psych statistics class was very kind and very cool and interesting. She was like a ballet student or something too.
Wow.
And I was like, what? There's ballet? Like that's in France or something, right? But several other teachers we had, I did Kobudo, which is like a Japanese martial art. And the teachers that I had for that, I really liked them. The name of that literature teacher, Mr.
Fletcher.
Yes.
He was amazing.
Yes, he was very cool and very fun to talk with and talk to.
Yeah.
But so I struggled for a minute, and there was definitely a year there where I was like, ugh, I can't get into any of the classes. I need to move on, and I have no money ever, and I had crashed a car on my way to school also at one point, so I was like kind of in debt a little bit, and my parents were helping me, but not like my dad was like, if you're not trying, I'm not paying for college. So So I was like, I want to work for a year. I don't want to go to school anymore. I want to just try to make some money. And so I went up to my boss and I was like, hey, if you set me up with full time, I'm going to take at least a semester off, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes from there. And I want to like build up and maybe move out of my parents' house and make it work. My dad was really mad. He was not a fan of that. He was like, you absolutely have to go to school and get a degree. And the fact that I did that and was kind of like, sorry, Dad, there's nothing I can do right now. Like, it's just going to be a semester. But I did it. And he was like, okay, good luck with that then. Pretty much the day classes started, I showed up to work and like looked at my schedule and was like, I'm only working twice this week. And I went to my boss, and they had actually just fired that guy and brought in a new manager who reworked the entire schedule.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like at max 10 hours a week for the entire semester. My
my
whole plan was ruined. And like the bosses at the work sucked, and I didn't I liked a few of my coworkers and stuff like that. And I felt like this sort of camaraderie with them where I needed to support them or be a good member of the team. But that didn't necessarily translate to like the same behavior back. It was just a retail job. I was working for Staples. It sucked. I didn't get the payback that I needed from that. So when the next semester was like coming and I had to sign up for classes, I was like, yes, absolutely. I'm going to sign up. This sucks. I'm not going to give my life to this company. And also that was the exact point where I had hit all the requirements in math and science that I needed. So I was just really waiting on the English classes that I needed. And I excelled at those. That's my subject, it turns out. I knew that in high school too, but I had a lot of fun. It was really interesting. I read all the texts. I jumped into class. That's the year we read like Yellow Wallpaper. And I freaking loved that book. I was like, I read that to like Johnny. I read it to Johnny's little brother. I read it to just like in the car, we'd be driving. I just start reading it. I thought it was so good. It really just, that was the moment where it hit, where I was like, no, school's cooler than Staples or whatever other lame job I could get. This like faceless corporation, I can't prove myself to them in a way that matters or feels like it matters. So I'm not going to try. I'm going to go back to school. And then I was able to transfer to Humboldt and make more awesome relationships with awesome, cool professors. And eventually I kind of teaching was the like, what do you do with an English degree? I guess I could either write really hard or I could try teaching. Teaching feels a little more stable. Maybe I'll get into writing later. I don't know if we'll see if that works out. Writing also takes a lot of work. It's not really something you just do on the side.
Don't we know it?
But it's also like, it's funny because a lot of people were like, teaching is the thing I'm going to do on the side. Or I think it was Johnny actually one time who was like, yeah, you know, I figured I'd teach someday, like later after I'm done with all the like important stuff I want to do. And it also turns out teaching's really hard and takes a lot of your attention.
It does.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So yeah, that's really, I hope that kind of answers it. It
Yeah.
was, that was the inspiration to get into teach, to finish school. And then English was just a natural subject to teach because.
So thanks, Staples, for screwing you over.
Kinda, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really want to put it on them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yellow Wallpaper, for being
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you, or what's her name? Charlotte Perkins
Becker.
Gilman. Am I right?
Let's find out.
That is one of those stories that I read in school that stuck out to me.
Yes.
That's one of the ones that I definitely read, and I was like, I went like in depth into like the meaning of everything, and
Charlotte Perkins Gilman.
Yes.
Nice.
Got it. Yeah, that's when in Miss Buholt's speech and debate, one girl did a. I remember it because I remember reading in college and then being like, that's like that one speech that one girl gave. And we would do dramatic reenactments of text that we could interpret with a 10-minute speech. And I remember just like watching her several times in competition being like, wow, that's so good. She's crazy. What's going on? And then reading it as an adult in college being like, oh, it's a book. So she's doing that DI.
Yeah.
I always found that like with required reading, when I liked a book, it was one of two reasons. It was either I actually did like the book and I liked the story and just like face value of the book, or it was this book made me feel smart because I understood it in a
Right.
deeper level.
Yeah.
And so like that was one of those ones where it's like face value of it, I probably wouldn't like the book of just saying like, oh, this is kind of boring in a certain way. But like when you look at it in a deeper sense, I'm like, this is a really good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that I am like a simple-minded, gullible guy, and every book my teacher would present to me, they would be like, this is such a good book, and I'd be like, okay, and then I'd read that book and be like, yeah, it was great. I loved it, right? It was really easy to affect me in that way, and I find that with everything. Like in college, I got into like listening to like NPR and stuff and This American Life, and these stories are actually boring. A lot of them are, but I'll just be like, yeah, I want to hear it. Whatever you got, let's go.
Tell me. Tell me things.
And that doesn't work for every kid. It's been a little bit of an adaptation on my end to make things exciting for kids and then also make them read it even if they're bored.
I always remember reading A Tale of Two Cities, and it was like I started it, and I'm like, this is really boring. I don't like this book. And then I got to like the second half of it where I was like, all the interesting stuff happens, and I'm like, I actually love this book. And that's why I always think about of like, if I start it and I don't like it, I'll try not to finish it because I'm like, I don't want to read this. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But that one I stuck out. I'm like, okay, maybe I should actually give these books a try.
That's one, like the do not finish list is one issue I have a hard time with too, for a lot of reasons like that. Just like trying to push through books. I have this like, proud sense of like I gotta finish no matter what. Like I'm like it's I just gotta get through it. This year, Megan, actually, you started me on a book journal, or you showed me a book journal, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna do that. And the option to not finish is available with every single book. And I think it was just over summer. I was reading a lot over the summer. I usually don't read this much. I read a lot, but not this much. And there was one or two books where I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's British. I don't want this. And yeah, I don't know. I have not yet finished a book, but
It's there.
It's gonna be there, I guess, eventually.
It's very liberating when you do it.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, wait a minute, this is an option. If I'm not enjoying this, I can just stop.
I do.
But I used to be the same way. I had. It's like once I was in a story, I was like, I must know what's going on.
Right.
I must know how this ends. Even if I'm not enjoying it, I have to know what happens at the end.
I do feel bad whenever I DNF, but I do it a lot. And a lot of the times I convince myself, I'll go back and read it.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
be fine. And so like, I tell myself, I'm going to go read it eventually later. So.
That is the way, the strategy I've had. Like I've done a bunch of dieting the last year and a half or so. And in conjunction with this, one of my closest friends has quit smoking. And that is one of the strategies that we employ. I will get to the end of the day and feel hungry and have calories left or something. And I can be like, well, it's not that I'm not eating this ever. I can maybe eat that. Maybe tomorrow I'll have that, right? Maybe the next day I'll have that. And that's the exact same strategy that my friend developed in quitting smoking. He'd be like, okay, I got like 2 cigarettes. I can smoke one of these, but let's smoke it tomorrow instead. And then just like forever pushing it back until you're just like, actually, I don't need that.
Procrastinate your bad habits.
Exactly. I haven't thought of it as procrastination, but that's so true.
Is finishing a book comparable?
If you don't like the book.
If you don't like the book,
Is
yes.
finishing a book comparable to smoking?
That's the joke on the internet. Is like it could be book or it could be drugs. All this money could have gone towards drugs.
It could be drugs. It could be calories. It could be so much stuff.
Yeah.
Why not both? I eat cupcakes and scones and chai Milano cookies, chai flavored Milano cookies while I
While you read books?
while I read books.
Yeah.
Well, what our newest hobby is climbing. So
Ooh,
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
playing Peak
we're
right
playing
now.
Peak right now.
Yeah.
Jenna's gonna play with us soon.
Yeah?
I'll get there eventually. I will. I
it's
do
very
have a
fun.
second computer thanks to Marissa.
Yeah, you do. Did you ever set that up?
It is set up. You know, the funny thing is we set it up, and it was when Mia was all but living with us for a while,
Yeah.
and she got into WoW with
Oh,
Jelani.
that's right.
And so they put it on my computer, and I was like, I mean, I'll play WoW eventually, but I have a kid, so if I have free time, it's like, oh, what do I want to do most? And usually gaming is underneath everything
Right.
else.
Yeah.
That
So-
that computer. So that's my old computer because during COVID, I got Resident Evil Village,
Nice.
and I needed a better graphics card. But it was COVID, and everything was stupid expensive just to buy a
Yes.
graphics card.
Right.
It was way cheaper to buy a whole new computer.
Well, all the tech bros had like run up the prices on chips and stuff.
Oh
so-
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just bought a whole new computer with a better graphics card
Yeah.
and gave her
So I
my old
got the old
computer.
computer.
That
So I had
even
WoW, and that's
affected life in Korea. It was really
Yeah.
weird.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
it affected like everything, like cars. Like
Yeah.
cars were having you couldn't get cars because there were no chips.
Oh right. I remember moving home and my options for buying a new car
Uh-huh.
after moving home was very limited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I bought one that looks like a shoe and I love it.
it's the best.
My Diva.
It is very recognizable. I'm always like, where? Oh, there's Megan's car.
There's
We're here.
Meg- yeah.
I found it.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is
not
bright
far.
blue.
I did pass one that was like almost the exact same of yours the other day. I'm like, wait, Megan? It was you.
Dang.
The funny thing is that there was one that looked like yours coming out of my like the houses next to my house.
Your
And-
neighborhood.
Yeah, my neighborhood, the one across the street. And Elias goes, May May? And I go, no, that's not May May. He goes,
If
it's
only.
May May's car. And I was like, no.
I love having a recognizable car, especially in a big parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
And my poor husband has like a gray Nissan
Right.
Rogue, and it's like
It's
anytime we take his car, I'm not looking for his car. I'm looking for mine.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, that's my car," and I'm like, "Oh, it's so boring, so boring." He even said, "Because I mean, in Korea, it's black and white. That's all you get. Maybe a silver.
Right.
We've seen like one red car my entire time there, and then coming here, he's like, everything's so bright. It's not going that way anymore. I feel like there's a lot more
yeah.
colorless cars. Sorry, we're way
Yeah.
off topic,
But
but
that's
anyway,
fair, yeah.
This is a car podcast now.
this is a car podcast.
All you gearheads.
NPR car
Greasers.
podcast about the two brothers. They're like Jewish, I think, and they talk about cars. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't. listen to
I
NPR.
always listen to Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Oh, yeah.
That's my NPR. that
I
listen
like
to.
roll my eyes at that, and then like the episode starts, and I'm like, all right. Here we go.
And I'm invested. Okay, so I thought it'd be interesting if you can remember how I guess even kind of percentage-wise would probably work, if you can remember. What percent of required reading in school for all of us, everyone's going to answer this question, did you actually read versus you just BS'd it?
100%.
100%.
I read it all. In college, when I was reading like 10 books a week, I would stop. I would eventually not. I would get the Cliff Notes. But in high school, I always read it.
Marissa?
I'd probably say like 75%.
You
There's like, there's, like I said, every once in a while I'd start a book, and if I really didn't like it, I'm like, I'm not going to finish this book. I always like telling the story of the book that I read like 3 pages of, and then we had to do an in-class essay, and I got 100% on the in-class essay, and the teacher used it as an example of how to write an in-class essay.
Wild.
I did not read more than like 3 pages of that book.
Well, just to go in order, I bet I'm probably higher than Megan, and I'd say I probably read 40% of books they gave us.
Okay.
Maybe.
I can give you the exact number of books that I read.
0.
Wow.
3.
3.
3. We had to read 3 books. I only remember 2 of them. Going into freshman year, and it was Flipped. I don't know who the author is, Jenna.
Oh, let's look it up.
It was Flipped, which they made into a movie, which was fantastic and adorable, and I loved that book, and I loved the movie. And then No More Dead Dogs. And that I just remember because the main character's name was Wallace Wallace.
Flipped is by Gwendolyn Van Draenen.
And that one was very cute. I highly recommend that one.
What was the next one? No More Dead Dogs.
No More Dead Dogs. And I do not remember the third one.
By Gordon Corman.
Okay.
I did not read either of those books.
Yeah, I didn't read any
And
of
I
those
read
books.
3 of those going into freshman year, and then nothing ever after that because I was too stubborn and only ever wanted to. I also did not take school seriously. It was very easy for me, and I just BS'd my way through everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably did like any in-class reading that we had to do, and they're just like, "Oh, finish it." I probably did finish it because it was like, "Oh, here's like a chapter that's left over."
Yeah.
Like, because I know we did do Midsummer Night's Dream. I remember we had to do a book called China Boy that I did not do for advanced English class.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I wanted to read what I wanted to read, which was Sweep,
Yep.
Daughters of the Moon, and anything Garth Nix.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, like, my favorite thing was definitely Fridays when we'd have, like, free reading time. And I'd just be able to read whatever I want. Obviously, since, like, kindergarten, whenever I got the chance, I was the kid that, like, I'd be in algebra and have my book open under the desk and be reading my book while they're trying to lecture because I was reading whatever book I could. And I couldn't stop. I'm still that way. Like, I will sneak a couple pages of my book whenever I get a chance. And
Or you could be like Johnny, who would blatantly just read his book in class.
Bio.
He would do that in, what was it? I think it was Algebra 2 class or something. And I'm struggling in math.
Yeah.
And he's literally just over there reading. And I think the teacher just put him in the back of the class the whole time.
there were
so he
times where I'd
wouldn't
like
disturb.
hide it in the textbook. I'd have the textbook open.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my book right in. I'm like, I was trying to be sly, but I was just, these teachers honestly, like, yeah, I was really bad in your math class. Sorry, but you're probably just excited because there's a teenager that wants to read a book. So they overlooked it.
He aced everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny, for how kind and lovable he is, can get a little cocky in that, like, he knows the answer. Like, he'll get it right.
Any homework he did, any test, he just aced it. So he could
I don't
just sit
think
in
I
the back,
really
and I
knew
just
that
hated
about
that.
him, like, when we were growing up, until, like, obviously he, like, is so smart and has these ridiculous jobs where he does sciencey things, and I'm just like, wow, Johnny was smart. Like,
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that because he's just not.
he's goofy.
Yeah, he's goofy
fun,
and
yeah.
he's sweet and he's friendly and he's not the type of person, like, usually you meet the smart kids and they're just like, I'm smart, like, and kind of obnoxious, and you just kind of want to, push their head into the toilet.
Yeah.
Flush
Oh wow, I never had that thought.
I mean, I didn't really either, but you want to do something annoying with them, like give them a wedgie or something. There's a reason they got made fun of. But Johnny wasn't that way. He was just so friendly and nonchalant about it. And then later on, finding out that he was actually ridiculously smart, I was like, wow, I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Do you guys remember when Johnny died?
Yeah. I do.
We did that drunk driving thing.
Oh yeah,
It
I
was,
do remember
what's
that.
it
The
called?
Scared
Every
Straight
5
thing.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do that. At least when I was subbing at a different high school, they were still doing it, and I remember them pulling kids out of class. I forget what it's called though. Every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
or-
Oh
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
they'd come in and take someone away.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those.
They never did that at mine. I
You
heard
missed
about
out,
it a
man.
lot, but
You missed out.
I
Not
don't know.
really.
I didn't get out of class. I say, but I was the one with like a 4.2 GPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is before we moved, so we moved when I was in 7th grade, from the valley into the foothills. And before I moved, I was a straight A student. It was like, I didn't have friends. All I did was school. And I liked to read, and I was incredibly invested, and that's just where I felt like I excelled. I was a straight A student in school.
And then she became a goth.
That wasn't until freshman year. I had time. No, and I really, I didn't trust kids. I was very a loner. I just really enjoyed. I was one of those kids that did the GATE programs and was kind of like off in my own little world and did my things. And I think I probably had like maybe 5 friends before we moved, tops altogether. And then we moved, and it's like I made friends, and suddenly I was like, oh wait, being a kid's fun. I don't want to think about these things. I don't want to invest in myself. So I became a pretty average student. Like I had some A's, some B's, a handful of C's. I did fail freshman PE science because I was like, what is this? And then they give you high school, and it's like, here, you have the option of taking these classes. And it's like, you really only have to take 2 math classes. And I'm like, great, that's all I'm going to take because I don't care about anything else. And you only have to take up to biology in science. Sure, that's all I'm going to take because I don't care. So for me, it was like I lost my motivation to be in school because I made friends. But I'll always remember English classes were always my favorite. And I remember every single one of my English teachers. But when they'd give you assigned reading, I was like, this is hit and miss on whether I'll even like this.
Yeah.
And so usually what would end up happening is I'd lose interest in the book. I'd start out really strong thinking, I'm going to read this. I'm going to do it with them. And then I'd be like, this is boring. This is so boring. And then it would get to the end and they'd be like, and then this happened. I'm like, wait, what the? Like, hold on. Now I want to read the book. Why didn't I read this book? I remember that with The Great Gatsby. One of the ones I did read was Mice and Men. I actually really like Steinbeck. I've read most of Steinbeck's stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember of Mice and Men, I had English class, and my best friend at the time, Lauren, had it right before me. So I think I had English class like 3rd period, and she had it like 2nd. And she finished Of Mice and Men first, and we hadn't got to that yet. And she just comes out of her class and she goes, Jenna, you'd never kill me, right? And she was just like, what? I was just like so confused. Then we finished Of Mice and Men. I go, oh. But yeah, I'll always remember like those moments of like, I think because she said that, I was more interested in reading the book because I was like, what's happening? So whenever I found out the ending of a book, I cared more about it in school.
I remember I finished The Great Gatsby in one day. They gave us the, like, hey, over the weekend, read, like, to chapter whatever, and then I just read the entire thing in a day. I don't know, like, it was a great book. I don't know what about it was like, I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah, so engaging.
Yeah.
I did that with Island of the Blue Dolphins.
Oh, I remember that one. I did read that one.
Yeah.
I don't think it was required. I must have been required.
It was
reading.
required
required
in like
reading.
5th grade or something.
That was
6th
elementary
grade.
school.
I did read
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
We do have that at my school still. We
I
have
remember-
a lot of old books at my school. but-
I just remember it was one of those ones where they gave it to me, and it was one of the first books that was required reading that was about a girl.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh, and I just like delved deep into it. They like gave it to me, and I think I finished it in one day, and then they'd be asking questions like, what do you think's gonna happen next? And I'd be like, she'd be like, no, Jenna, don't answer, because I knew the answer. She's like, I
All the
figured it
first
out.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time where
Yeah.
I'd finish it first and then I'd be like, I know what happens.
Kids love to do that too because it's kind of that autonomy thing of being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I do have it right and I do feel smart about it because
Yeah.
I read so fast and good. And I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Please don't spoil it for the class or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, that happened to Mina, the girl I was talking about earlier. She finished all of Percy Jackson. She ended up taking the book home, and she was like, can I take it home? And I was like, of course you can. And she finished it, and of course the whole question of that is who's the lightning thief.
Mm-hmm.
And she came back and spoiled it for everybody.
Oh, no.
And that was a moment where I was just like, okay, okay, that
You're
was
kicked
not
out of
good.
my classroom.
Yeah, that was not good. And they were all like, what? It's Luke? Spoiler alert. Yeah.
I noticed there was like, when I was looking up, because today on my break I was kind of looking up, I was like, what was required reading when I was like in middle school? Because I don't remember what was required versus what I just read.
Yeah.
And I noticed there was a lot of like clustered together themes of it. So like Island of the Blue Dolphins and Walk Two Moons, and I don't remember if it is native or not, but there was a whirligig was something we read.
I read Whirligig.
Yeah, which by the way, kid did not realize what that was about. I went back to read what it was about. And I'm like, that is deep.
What? I've never heard of Whirligig.
Really?
I mean, even Walk Two Moons is really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whirligig is basically this guy was in a car accident where he was trying to commit suicide and accidentally killed somebody else.
Oh.
And so
Wow.
to like make amends, he's going to the four corners of the United States to put up whirligigs for them.
What's a Whirligig?
It's like this like spinning statue thing that's like a totem kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember we read
I always
that.
just imagine it like a windmill.
Yeah,
for some
kind of
reason.
like that.
Pinwheel?
Pinwheel.
Oh, like a pinwheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it like spins more like that than
Yeah.
Right.
horizontally rather than vertically.
You use the
I
hand
know.
motions.
Like this. and
like this
that.
and like that. Yeah, we do this on camera, right? Yeah.
yeah. Ryan brought his camera. Why haven't we been
I
doing
did,
it?
yeah, we could say.
Oh, we got to start all over again.
I know,
Yeah.
gosh.
Dang it.
But then, like, I thought about it. There was also like a cluster of like World War II stuff that we read, of like the Diary of Anne Frank and Diary of a Young Girl.
Well, isn't fourth grade California history, fifth grade is world history, or U.S. history, sixth grade is world history? That's what I remember.
So
that was
the
me.
idea is that it is recursive. So if they teach history in elementary school, it might follow those patterns. Typically, elementary school is reading and math all the way up to sixth grade.
Yeah.
And then if they have extra time, they'll throw in a little bit of history, or if they can combine it, like if they can teach a historical book as the reading book that you're doing, then they teach history, right? And then maybe they'll get a little bit of science in, but the science is pretty like shallow and not very, and not that the kids can really engage with a ton of really deep level sciencey stuff. But it's recursive. So if that's true, I don't know too much about elementary school. But if you do California history fourth grade, because I remember doing this the Gold Rush, and also we went to like a cabin.
CA Fair?
Yeah, and then
the cabin was that was fifth grade for me.
was it fifth grade?
And the boat in the Bay
The boat.
Area that we stayed on, we like learned all about sailing and stuff. So
Yeah.
we like stayed the night on a boat.
Sixth grade, I did the cabins.
We did we did the cabins. We did Yosemite.
What?
But we did for like fourth grade. I think it was fourth grade or fifth grade. We stayed at an Adobe and went to a
that's
mission.
cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the project I was saying. The mission
Yeah.
project was the big
Oh, yeah,
staple
we didn't do
of
that.
California history.
Yeah.
So they do that, and then they do like world history one year, and then they do maybe American history one year, and then when you get to middle school, you go like back down to world history, and you repeat it. You go through it again. Eighth grade, you go through U.S. history again, and then freshman year you don't teach history at all. But then sophomore year you go back into world history, and then you again junior year you're doing United States history, and then your senior year you're doing something like econ.
We did
or,
econ government.
Yeah, government, yeah.
Okay. And that makes sense because I remember in elementary school, there's like that whole thing where it's like, yay, Thanksgiving, the Indians and the Pilgrims.
and it's like a very
then in
simplified
middle
version.
school,
Yeah.
it's like, we weren't very nice. And then in high school, we were just like, we killed them all.
Yeah. It's like that slow.
We were the bad guys.
I honestly think that process like ruined me as a kid because like for one in fourth grade or whatever we learned cursive writing and I was like
Yeah,
this
that
is
was a
so
big thing,
important.
yeah.
They said, and then we get to middle school and they're like, well, turns out it's not that important actually. And then high school they're like, please don't write in cursive. What are you doing?
Yep.
That's literally what happened.
And now they're like, please use a computer.
Yeah.
I don't want to see your handwriting at
Yeah.
all.
I heard they don't teach cursive anymore.
They do. The kids will sign things in cursive, but it's also like I don't know. It's the state of
Very.
education right now is concerning. The amount that we can fit in to what compared to what we used to be able to fit in. Like I still know cursive, but or I also still know how to like read a clock, an analog clock, like the one you have on your wall.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old crotchety guy, like being like kids these days, but also.
Kids don't know these
Do you
things.
They
do
don't
you
know anything.
not have an analog clock in your classroom?
I do.
Okay.
And
They
they
can't
don't
tell
know
it.
how to read it. They could not tell me what time it was.
Eighth graders. Oof.
Eighth graders, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think too of the like joke that people say of like when we were growing up learning math, they're like, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket every
I know.
day.
Right.
But like we do. We have
hella
all this
do. Yeah.
information at our hands all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Look,
And that's
the funny thing to me is that, like, especially we grew up with that in between, right, where
The millennials.
we didn't
Yep.
have that growing up, and our parents don't even think about that stuff, even though they do, and it's cool. My dad's like, "Oh, cool, ChatGPT is the best thing in the
oh,
world."
Dad loves AI. It's so
so frustrating.
And so, but then kids after us don't know anything before that, right? So it's funny because, like, I'll still to this day, like, my mother-in-law will sit there and go, what size is a carry-on? Do you think I could bring my carry-on in and you could tell me again what size it is? And I was like, Renee, all I do is Google it. You have a phone in your pocket, just Google it. Like, and so I Google things and I screenshot them, and I'm like, you're not that old. How do you not know?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, because it never occurs to you, because by the time this became a big thing, you were so set as an adult
Yeah.
that you just don't think about the fact that you can easily Google anything at any moment and have an answer.
Well, and it's also like on the other side of that, like kids too. When I was in the credential program, learning to be a teacher, they were like, your students will be digital natives. They're
Yeah.
going to understand how to do all these things on computers. Cause like I kind of was, because not that I like was a baby when computers came out, but I grew up like going on AOL and getting into the chat rooms and figuring out how to do all that stuff. But it took a degree of figuring that out. And now as user interfaces have improved and gotten really good and really flashy and really good at like making you do the whole thing, kids don't know how to do it anymore. They're not
Yeah.
digital natives. I have to explain to them what a folder is and how to upload their file from the computer onto Google Classroom so that they can turn it into me and stuff like that. And they don't think about just Googling the answers to their questions.
Because
either.
everything, if it's not easily done on a smartphone, they're
Mhm.
not doing it on a set at home computer the way we did.
And if the answer isn't like if it's in more depth than just the first thing that comes up on Google, then
Yeah.
they're not going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I do like the part of like growing up in school when they would teach you like citing and learning like credible sources versus non-credible
yeah.
sources.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You
When
hate
you
it
said
now.
citing, I was like, that's my least favorite
No,
thing to teach.
I hate citing,
Yeah.
like doing a citation
Yes.
page. That's the stupidest thing.
That's
I
the
hate
worst.
that. But like actually finding credible sources and like being able to say like, yeah, I found this from not Facebook page or
Right.
whatever. Like it's an actual like education website or like an actual article written by a doctor or something.
That is a big thing. And I think it is one of the most important things we're going to be able maybe to teach kids how to do. I do cover like a research project every year where I'm like, we have to study a topic and you have to present resources. And I give the kids what I call the CRAP test. I forget everything it stands for. It's currency, relatability, authority, purpose, and somewhere timeliness is in there somewhere too. But it's like, are the sources you're getting your information from, are they crap or are they not?
Yeah.
And the kids love it because I get to say crap.
Yeah.
But it's like honestly one of my favorite lessons to teach, and also the most critically important one is please like look at your media critically and don't just assume whatever they're showing you is
Don't
exactly
just do
right.
every
Yeah.
Instagram
Yes.
reel is exactly facts because they put on a white coat and so
Yeah.
they look like a doctor.
Our stepdad, I remember when they were living here, and I think you guys were living with them at that point, but he had this big stack of like all those like weird conspiracy magazines that are like super not credible.
Yeah.
But the reason he read it was he would study them and try to find like, okay, where did they pull the facts to make it?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
It's interesting. So I have a family member that I'm going to try to be vague about because I don't want to just be horrible on this podcast.
Oh, so it's Marissa. Marissa gets up to
She
leave.
is not blood related to me. And they were taking classes kind of recently, and they had to write a paper and send it in.
Okay, I think I know who this is.
And I was floored that they had no idea what citing was.
Yeah.
None. Like, you obviously went to high school, graduated high school, and are in college, and the teacher like sent the essay back and was like, "This is plagiarized," and she's like, "No, it's not. I didn't plagiarize." And she goes, "Where's your works cited?" And I go, "You have to cite where you got the." And she's like, "I was like, if you used a quote from something, so what would be a quote?" She had no idea what a quote was, no idea what citing anything was. How do you? And I was like, "You can't write a paper." And it just like my whole brain like kind of melted, realizing that how low the standard of some education is in some areas, that they can just push kids through that have no idea how to do these things anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was just like, I wouldn't have been able to finish high school at that if I didn't know what a works cited was.
Yeah, how to embed a quote. We spend
Yeah.
so much time going over the format of our works cited page.
Yep.
And I tell the kids about that all the time because now we have like easy paper where it auto generates the works cited page for you. And it's like nice. It's not great. It's not easy. But it is better than us handwriting the format to that thing and getting points nicked off when we forgot the period or the comma or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if it's from a magazine, it has to be italicized. If it's from a book, it's in quotations
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
vice versa or something.
Yeah.
I struggled with that so much.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was tough, but you had to have works cited. You had to use a certain amount of quotes. Every paragraph had to have a quote in it.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't just wing an essay and just be like, "Here's my thoughts," and it's like, and turn it in and pass high school. I would have never passed high school.
Yeah, exactly. There's a joke we have. So I also work at the high school. I work with their drum line. So I know all the high school teachers, a lot of the high school teachers too. There is a funny joke that we say that's funny. And I guess I'll do the air quotes. It's funny. But we speculate whether a dog could get through the high school under the right circumstances. And then we laugh and we think it's funny. I promise.
It's very funny.
All right. So I think we've basically covered anything. Do you have any last final things to say, Ryan?
I don't know. No, I'm going to say no.
Okay. Well,
Do you have tips for how you would, as a parent, other parents? Obviously, like I'm a reader, so my kid sees me read, so he's more interested in reading. Parents that aren't readers, what would you tell them if they want to get their kids into reading?
I would say that it would require one of two things. One thing that works for me as an adult who does not have time to read physical books all the time. I crank audiobooks all the time. I think they're super good. They're super nice to be able to like run and listen to an audiobook or go to practice or swim and listen to an audiobook. I guess if you had headphones that work that way. That's awesome. Driving in the car with an audiobook is the best thing I can possibly do. That doesn't work for all kids. Like the audio processing isn't always there. Listening is hard for kids, especially 8th graders. The other big thing is like technology is such a huge distraction for kids that if you can work it out with them to put their phones away for a half hour every day and just physically read with them, that would probably be the other step to take. If that's a possibility. I know a lot of families have a hard time doing that and are very busy, and probably it's like pulling teeth for kids sometimes to have to sit down and read for a half hour straight. But that's probably the best way to do it. Is just reading and writing both are skills. So it takes practice and it takes a continued commitment.
I think I already know the answer to this, but would you even encourage them to read stuff like comic books or anything?
Certainly. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the other thing is like what they read. They have to be intrinsically motivated to read the thing. So that means they're not reading it for some sort of outside benefit, right? There can be that too. You could be like, if we finish this book, you get ice cream or whatever. I don't know, whatever motivation system you have. But they have to be interested in it. So if they're reading about cars or sports, or if they're reading really cool, plot-heavy sci-fi fantasy books, or if they're reading comic books, a large thing that kids are reading mostly, a lot of the reading content that they actually do is like text messaging and social media messaging and stuff like that. So that is what they are used to reading, and they'll get really good at that. But maybe that's not the only thing you want them exposed to the entire time. Make them read something else, which is, easy enough to say and probably really hard to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Ryan.
Absolutely.
Let's kind of wind down and talk about what we're reading. How about Marissa? You go first.
I am probably going to DNF a book right now,
Oh,
but
no.
I am listening to mostly when I go to sleep. So I've been listening to it and then like going back and listening to what I fell asleep to. But it's a nonfiction book about the endurance. which is the ship that froze down in the Antarctic that they actually very recently
Oh.
found.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know much about it like in detail, so when it came up as like a suggested read in my Audible, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to this.
Just to clarify, this is not the book you'll DNF?
No, this is not the book
Okay.
that I'm gonna DNF. This
Okay.
is
Because you actually
one-
sounded interested, and I was like, that doesn't sound like the voice of
A DNF.
an Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I'm reading specifically, because there's a lot of books about it, is called, I have to close one eye, Unabridged Endurance, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage by Alfred Lansing. And it's read by Simon Preble, who is actually a very good audiobook, I think, or a very good narrator, I think, especially for this book, because he just sounds like a sailor. He sounds like a British sailor, and it
I
is
hope
very
he goes into
soothing.
shanties for you.
It is just very soothing to fall asleep to, and then like I'll wake up and be like, wait, I want to go back and listen to more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you DNFing then?
I will talk about that later.
Okay, fair.
It's one of our galleys.
Uh-oh.
Oh, not the Nikita Gill one.
No.
Okay. All right, Ryan, what are you reading?
So I actually just got through a summer of like doing tons of reading, mostly audio, but a couple physical books. It's been a lot of like folk horror and stuff like that. That's one of my favorite genres. Right, I just like yesterday finished Mary by Nick Cutter. Nick Cutter does a bunch of horror books. He did The Troop and Little Heaven. Little Heaven is a book I didn't finish by him. I got like halfway through, but it was like a physical book that my friend suggested probably while I was in the middle of school, and I didn't end up finishing that one. Yeah, so I'm in between books right now. I'm looking to start reading a lot more science fiction because we're starting a new role-playing game with a group of my friends. It's going to be kind of patchwork, but I'm excited about it, and it's situated largely in science fiction. So I'm going to look for a science fiction book next. I don't
Did
know what.
you?
Illuminate Box?
I've read those. I might reread them.
Oh, right, because we actually talked about them when we went to the Books and Brews.
Yeah.
You picked up a sci-fi book, right?
I did. I might wait for that one. The
Okay.
Books and Brews people said that was like a book club book that they were doing. So I
Oh,
was
for
like, maybe
October,
I should
right,
wait.
that's right.
Yeah,
Have you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I have. That is.
That was a required reading in high school
high
for the
school.
sci-fi
Yeah.
class.
I
Yeah.
didn't
awesome.
like it.
I also
so I
didn't
didn't
like
read it. I listened to it, and the
okay.
audiobook is amazing.
Is it really good?
I loved it.
I just British humor. I don't like.
Oh.
I can't.
Yeah.
handle it.
See, I love the British humor.
That was also me. That's why I said I just didn't get Good Omens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And everyone's like, it's so funny, and I was like, I don't,
it's hilarious.
but I don't think I got far enough
Yeah.
because any part it just seemed very dull. But I mean, the first part of it obviously purposefully sounds biblical to like kind of explain.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So I was just like, I don't want to read the Bible. Anyway, Jenna, what are you reading?
Not the Bible. No, I'm actually as far from the Bible as possible.
Uh-oh.
I've been reading Zodiac Academy, which I'm like on book 7 of 12,
Wow.
We
kind of 24.
we go on a break for a couple weeks, and Jenna's like, I'm on book 7.
Look, okay, so I thought these were quick books. I kind of, in my mind, first of all, they're all on Kindle Unlimited, so I haven't seen like the physical copy. I mean, I have now, but it's not
Oh,
like
they're
I ever saw them.
massive.
These are huge books.
They're
the
huge
first ones
books.
are like not, they're decent size. The first like 3 or so are, like 300, 400 page books, something like that. Decent size books. Book 7 that I'm on right now is like 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I
They're
didn't know what I was
huge.
getting into. These are not highbrow literature. They are not. The romances are literally everything I didn't like in romance. I cannot stop laughing and I cannot stop reading them. I am obsessed with these books. They are the CW soap opera shows of books, and I literally can't stop. And to the point where like I was audiobooking the first 4 because I had the graphic audio for them, and so I was listening to the audiobook for them, and I was getting my nails done, and I was holding back laughter so hard that tears were filling my eyes, and the nail lady kept apologizing for hurting me, and I was like, no, you're not. And I'm like trying not to laugh, and I'm like choking on my laughter, trying not to like verbally like spew laughter everywhere. And it's been a long time since I've just been able to laugh and enjoy a book that's so they're actually high stakes. I can't say they're low stakes, but they're just, it's such an easy read. It's not something that's like, the Amin al-Sarafi's, the books like that are really good that I could recommend to a ton of people are the ones that like, you have to pay attention. You have to know what's going on. These ones I'm just like, there's bad guy, they're going after the bad guy, but a lot of the in-between is just funny, ridiculous humor that I find myself laughing and my son going, what's so funny? And I'm like,
You're like,
I can't tell you
"Oh."
because it's actually dirty, so it is
Sorry,
not appropriate. Anyway, Megan, what about you?
I am doing the audiobook of The Wrath and the Dawn,
Oh, yeah.
which I've never read.
Love those books.
So excited. And that's like top tier for you. 'Cause
Yes,
even
I
in our
love
first
it.
episode, you talked about that one. And I started the webtoon years ago. And then I got up to the point where they had like started and I was like, I don't want to wait a week.
Yeah.
So then, but yeah, I really like them. I love
I
the
didn't know
writing
they had
so
a
much.
webtoon.
Yeah, I like the writing. It's probably done by now. But I like the writing a lot. The narrator is really good. The only problem is she doesn't do voices. So half the time I don't know if it's
Ooh.
talking or if it's not talking.
Oh, yeah.
Or like who
if
is
it's dialogue
talking.
or not.
Yeah. And then, but one thing I do like that she does is like if the character, she's like, oh, something, the character laughs, she'll actually like laugh
Oh, okay. That's
and
it.
as they're doing dialogue. So I like that. Or if like the character's side, she'll go, okay, fine. So I like that a lot. But yeah, I'm excited to get into that one.
I love
It's
those
pretty
books.
good.
Those are actually, Jelani got me the Fairy Loot.
Yeah.
version of them, and those are one of my favorite books that I own because they're so
They're
beautiful.
gorgeous.
So beautiful.
They're gorgeous. I bought them just because I was like, they're Jenna's favorite. They're probably got to be
They're
good.
gorgeous.
And then I sent it to Jelani. I was like, just in case.
Yeah.
You should get these for... Anyway, I mean, Jelani came up with it on his own.
Yeah.
Totally.
It was perfect timing because I think it was for our anniversary.
Your anniversary, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the physical or ebook that I'm doing is Darker by 4 by C.L. Toon. 1 second. Please hold. And that's supposed to be on, for those listening from TikTok followers, someone requested this on our TikTok when I made the K-pop Demon Hunters
Oh yeah.
reel that got us pretty popular. And they're like, oh, you should read this book. And I was like, okay. Oh, June CL Tan. It's cute. It's fine. It's very K-pop Demon Hunter coded, so I definitely recommend it if you want a book that's K-pop Demon Hunter coded. But it's also very YA.
Yeah.
And it's very predictable, but that's okay. I think at this point, everything's predictable for us. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty hard to surprise me.
All right. So, yeah. Thanks again, Ryan, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
You will be back
Sure.
when we talk
Sure.
about our books. You'll be.
Hope you'll be back.
You better
Yeah,
be
the
back.
fellowship.
I mean, I'm down.
Yeah, for our fellowship. You'll be back for 4 more episodes.
Wow. Okay.
Ryan is like, actually, we're not friends
God,
anymore.
I committed to that, so
D&D is gonna be awkward tomorrow.
All right. So we're going to end this on a quote. Marissa, our quote finder, found this for us. And it's by Maya Angelou. And it says, any book that helps a child to form a habit of reading, to make reading one of his needs, is good for him. It should also be said that it's her as well. Or them.
yeah.
So yeah. Or anyone. All right. Yeah. Great. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.